Ang ikaduhang topic sa Science 9 Quarter 1 is entitled Non-Mendelian Patterns of Inheritance. Essential learning competency for this topic. Explain the different patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance. The code is S9LT-LD-29. As a sort of review, can we recall what is genetics? Do you know who is Gregor Mendel? He is an Austrian monk, carried out the first important studies on heredity. What is heredity? It starts from the genes, parents, then to the offspring. It means it is the transmission of genetic characters from parents to offspring. It is dependent upon the segregation and recombination of genes. It is also means that one's heredity consists of all the structures, the physical characteristics, functions, capacities derived from the parents, other ancestry, or species. Ang heredity sa Tagalog ay pagmamana. Ang pagmamana ng katangian ay ang pagpapasa ng mga katangian ng mga magulang o ng mga ninuno papunta sa mga anak o supling. What is Punnett square? As you can see in the picture, this is an example of Punnett square. So, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng Punnett square? Let's go to the next slide. Punnett square, the method by which one can determine the possible genotypes and phenotypes when two parents are crossed. Meaning, a Punnett square is a very helpful tool that helps to predict the variations and probabilities that can come from crossbreeding. This includes predicting crossing plants, animals, and even humans with each other. Differentiate phenotype from genotype. So, what is the difference between a genotype and phenotype? Let's start from genotype. Genotype refers to the genetic code of the individual. Remember the word genetic code of the individual. This is all the information that is found inside the individual's cells. So, everything that someone inherited from their parents is called the genotype. It depends on the hereditary information. So, for example, there's a person who has brown hair but his cells contain one brown hair and one blonde hair allele. The genotype includes all of this information, even though this person doesn't have blonde hair. Now, let's go to the phenotype. It is the expression of the genotype that is visible to other people and can be observed. That is, for example, the color of the person's eye. So when we say phenotype, it is visible to other people. It is the expression of the genotype. Pasabot, makita nimo. Ang genotype, dili nimo makita, it's because genetic code siya naa sa sulod sa cell, sa individual cell. While the phenotype, ma-observe nimo, it's because it is the expression of the genotype. Makita nimo, ma-observe nimo, it can be seen with your own naked eye. So, for example, the color of the person's eye is an example of phenotype. It can be influenced by the environment. The phenotype only includes information about brown hair because that's what we observe when we look at this person. Differentiate dominant from recessive. So these words are very common when it comes to studying heredity. About dominant and recessive alleles. Dominant allele is an allele that is always expressed when present. regardless of whether the organism is homozygous or heterozygous for that gene. Recessive allele is an allele that is only expressed when the organism is homozygous for that allele and not expressed when heterozygous when paired with a dominant allele. So we can simply say that the dominant is the trait that always shows up in the organism whenever it is present, while the recessive, it is the trait that is masked or covered up whenever the dominant allele is present. So, kasabot si dominant, siya imong makita tanan. So, for example, sa color, siya ang dominant, siya ang mas daghan og color. While ang recessive, it is a trait, characteristic sa isa ka organism wherein murag nakatago lang siya. Naa siya ana na trait, pero nakatago siya, nakamas, naka-covered siya because naa may dominant. Ang dominant man ang present man ang dominant man ang mas nakita nato outside sa isa ka organism when we observe that organism. So that is the simple meaning of dominant and recessive. The discussion of our main topic. Grab your notebook or ballpen so you can start to take note the important facts or information about this topic. There are different patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance, and these are the following. Discuss the different patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance. Let us first define what is the difference between Mendelian pattern of inheritance and non-Mendelian inheritance. A Mendelian pattern of inheritance refers to reproducing organisms sexually, so each parent gives one of two possible alleles for a trait. However, non-Mendelian inheritance is any pattern of inheritance wherein traits do not segregate following Mendel's law. These laws describe the inheritance of traits linked to single genes on chromosomes in the nucleus. So, simple lang, ang Mendelian pattern of inheritance, naa siya ginasunod na law. While ang non-Mendelian inheritance is any pattern of inheritance wherein ang traits sa isa ka organism wala nagasunod sa law na na-discover ni Gregor Mendel. The three laws or the Mendel laws are, it includes the law of dominance and uniformity, the law of segregation, and the third is the law of independent assortment. So one of the patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance is the incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance is present when an offspring resembles a mixture of parents' phenotypes. Offspring will have a visible trait different from both parents. In other words, in this type of inheritance, there will be a newly created form of an individual that is highly different from the parent. So, sa Bisaya pa, ang incomplete dominance kay ang offspring niya o ang anak niya kay mixture sa phenotype or sa character or sa traits sa iyahang parents. So, ang offspring kay naa siya, different siya, lahi siya sa visible trait sa iyahang parents. O naapoy newly created form na ay bagong variation when it comes sa incomplete dominance na lahi rapod sa parents. So, for example, in incomplete dominance, let's assume that in pea plants, so this is pea plants, the allele that gives the flowers a purple color can be represented by P. So, and the allele for white flowers can be represented by small p. So, for purple flower, capital P, and for the white flowers, represented by small p. This figure, we are provided with a Punnett square, showing the predicted genotypes of the offspring produced by two plants that are heterozygous. So this example shows a heterozygous parent. There is a big letter P and small letter P. For flower color being crossed. So mag-crossbreed ta, magbuhat og Punnett square and then write one allele for each box. So this is the parent phenotypes. The parent phenotypes, it has a purple flower, and the parent's genotypes, it has a big letter P and small letter P. So ang allele ani isulat kag big letter P kani, big letter P and small letter P. Then diri pod big letter P, small letter P. And then mag-crossbreed. P and P. So you will have two big P's will have a purple flower, then crossbreed again, you write. So dili pwede na gamay ang mauna og sulat ang gamay na P, small p, dapat big jod kay as you can see we'll base it on the parents genotypes. Dominant man ang big P, so big P jud ang unang sulaton, big P man ni, so you write big P and small p. So you will have a purple flower. Then crossbreed again, big P and small p, you will have a purple flower. And here small p and small p, you will have a white flower. So this is an example of incomplete dominance because there is a newly created variation of an offspring that is different from the color of the parents' phenotypes. Complete dominance, it is only the phenotype that is intermediate. The red and white alleles remain separate and distinct. So half the gametes of the 4 o'clock carry the allele for red and half carry the allele for white. Therefore, the genotypic ratio also becomes phenotypic ratio. So this is also an example of incomplete dominance. Kay ang red o white flower gi-crossbreed, ang kalabasan, ang offspring niya is something pink ang color sa flower. Incomplete dominance is a form of intermediate inheritance in which one allele for a specific trait is not completely dominant over the other allele. This results in a third phenotype in which the expressed physical trait is a combination of the dominant and recessive phenotypes. Look at these two pictures. What can you say about the phenotype of the offspring? The second pattern in non-Mendelian inheritance, which is called the codominance. It is a heterozygote condition wherein both traits are present simultaneously rather than one fully determining the phenotype. A speckled chicken is a good example of codominance. A cross between black and white chicken will produce chicken with both black and white feathers. The alleles for black feathers in some varieties of chicken is codominant with the allele for white feathers. So in codominance, sa Bisaya pa, ang trait sa both parents kay makita jud siya sa iyang offspring. Both traits sa parents kay visible sa trait sa iyang offspring. So a great example or a good example is the speckled chicken, wherein ang agi crossbreed ang black ug white na chicken, magproduce siya og chicken nga naay black ug white na feathers. So na-combine ang black ug white na traits sa iyahang parents. In codominance, both alleles are expressed equally in phenotype of the heterozygote. So for example, red cows crossed with white cows will have offspring that are roan cows. Roan refers to cows with red and white blotches. So can you give other examples of codominance? Next, letter C is the multiple alleles. It is a single gene that has more than 2 alleles. So it is called multiple alleles. The ABO blood groups in humans as an example of a gene that has multiple alleles. It is one that controls the inheritance. So multiple alleles, isa bisaya pa, ang single gene na siya more than 2 alleles. So gitawag siya kay more than 2 alleles man ang offspring or mugawas, ginatawag siyang multiple alleles. Basta more than 2 alleles ang single gene. So is the ABO blood groups, as you can see in the picture. Letter A allele, B allele, and O allele. There are 3 alleles. Blood type, ang iyahang papa is blood type A, ang iyahang mama kay blood type B. So ang ilang offspring na blood type A, ang napoy blood type AB. So gintawag ni siyang codominant kay naa ang blood type siyang papa A ug napoy blood type siyang mama B. So type AB, codominant ang iyahang blood. Then ang isa ka bata blood type B lang siya. Then ang isa ka bata pod kay blood type O. So there are multiple alleles ang tawag nila kay more than 2 man ang alleles na migawas. Of multiple alleles is based on the pictures. You can see inheritance of the ABO blood system in humans. So as you make a Punnett square like this, so ibutang nimo ang allele A, B, and I. Then diri pod A, B, and I. So let's start the crossbreed. A, capital A. So you will have type A, capital A and B. Dili pwede na unahog sulat ang B niya A dayon because based sa ato ang genotype sa parents, mag-una jud ang A, wala may B. A man jud na. So start from A and B. So this offspring will have the blood type AB. Then kanina offspring type A and I, so naa siya type A kay mas dominant man ang A. Next is crossbreed again. B and A, so ang mugawas kay ang iyang blood kay type AB. Next is crossbreed B and B, type B and B, so ang mugawas na offspring is type B. The next type B and I, so ang magawas na offspring kay B, dominant ang type B. Next is I. So I and A, ang dominant is ang iyahang offspring will have type A na blood. Then next I and B. Since B man ang dominant, type B ang bata. Then, I and I will have 2 small I. So, ang bata will have type O na blood. Next, ang allele sa rabbit is C, CH, and C to the power of H and small c. So here, kung i-crossbreed na, kung ang allele niya is capital C, it will have a wild type brown fur na rabbit. So, if ang genotype niya kay C to the power of CH and C to the power of CH, ang iyang phenotype is chinchilla, black tip, white fur. If ang genotype naman niya is C to the power of H and C to the power of H, ang phenotype niya is Himalayan, white fur with black paws, nose, ears, and tail. And if ang genotype niya is small letter CC, it will have albino, white fur na rabbit. Key concepts. In humans, there are 4 blood types. So, blood types are, this is also called phenotypes. Type A, type B, type AB, and type O. Blood type is controlled by 3 alleles. So, what are those alleles? The type A, type B, and type O. O is recessive, so 2 O alleles must be present for a person to have a type O na blood. A and B are codominant, so if a person receives an A allele and B allele, their blood type is AB. Now, let's proceed to the next pattern. It is called the sex-linked inheritance. It is a mode of inheritance in which a gene responsible for a specific trait is located on a sex chromosome, either X for female or Y for male, resulting in sexually dependent inheritance of the trait. So, for example, in a Punnett square analysis of a sex-linked trait, so this is a male insect and a female insect. So, ang male insect naa siya X to the power of W and Y na allele. Then, ang female is X to the power of W and X to the power of W. So, ang female gametes, so magbuhat na tag Punnett square kani Punnett square ni siya. Para may balaan na toon siyang offspring. Ang female gametes, butang nato dari ang allele sa female gametes, X to the power of W and X to the power of W. Ang female gametes, X to the power of W and Y, capital Y. So, crossbreed nato X, W, and X, W. So, you will have a female. Female ang offspring niya naa siya red eyes, as you can see on the picture. Next, XW and XW. So, same lang gihapon sa iyang parent na female, babae. So, same man sila og genotype. So, it is a female offspring with red eyes. Kay, nga naman, codominant sila sa iyang parent na red eyes. Ang male kay red eyes man, so mo nang red iyang eyes even though female siya. Next is XW and Y. So, ang offspring kay male Pero since dili man ang XW man kay gikan man siyang parent nga ang Y is gikan siyang male na parent, so male siya with white eyes. Dere ang red eyes siya, it's because ang X to the power of W nagikan siyang papa is dominant, kaya red eyes ang insect, ang iyang anak. Here X to the power of W and Y, so male gihapon ang offspring pero white ang eyes. So that's it. That is the sex-linked inheritance. Sex chromosomes and sex determination. Humans have 46 chromosomes. Remember that. In each cell. So, each cell na ay 46 ka chromosomes. Observation of the human body cells show 23 pairs of chromosomes, both males and females. 24 pairs are somatic chromosomes. The 23rd pair consists of sex chromosomes. Males have 44 body chromosomes and 2 sex chromosomes, X and Y. So, sa lalaki, ang male na ay 44 kabuok chromosomes. Ang duha ato, di ba, 46 pantanan ng chromosome, no? Ang duha ato kay X and Y na chromosome. O ganing X and Y na chromosome, ginatawag na sex chromosomes. Then, ang females pod na ay 44 ka body chromosomes, o gatong duha ka chromosomes, para total of 46 chromosomes, those 2 sex chromosomes are both X. So remember, ang males, ang yang 2 sex chromosomes kay X and Y. Ang females, na siya ay duha ka sex chromosomes pero both X. Remember that. Sex-related inheritance. Most of the time, more men in comparison to women are bald, while lactation or milk production is common in women but certainly not in men. Sa Bisaya pa, so daghang lalaki kung i-compare sa babae kay bald or kaya kanang ginatawag na upaw. While lactation or milk production kana mag-produce og gatas, di ba, sa mga mother na mga anak bago, labi na tong mga bagong nanganak. It is common for women na mag-lactate, labi na magkaanak or magka-baby na, pero certainly not in men. Wala jud kay madunggan na lalaki mag-produce og gatas or mag-lactate. So these are inherited characteristics determined by sex. So tungod na siya sa sex chromosomes. So the following are the 3 kinds of sex-related inheritance, namely sex-limited, sex-influenced, and sex-linked. Number 1. Sex-linked genes are genes found either on X or Y chromosomes, which are inherited differences among male and a female. Sex-linked traits determined by an X-linked gene when an X chromosome takes control. On the other hand, the so-called Y-linked genes are those located on the Y chromosome. Number 2. Sex-limited trait. Those traits limited to only one sex. So, for example, lactation. So, limited lang man siya. So, limited to only one sex lang man siya, or either male or female. So, ang best example is the lactation. Ang mag-produce og gatas. Both sexes but more frequently in one than in the other sex. So, ato sa ang sex-influenced traits kay naa siya sa both sexes, sa male or female, but more frequently mogawas siya sa mas daghag mogawas ana na trait sa isa ka sex compared to other sex. So example is the pattern baldness o ang kanang pagkaupaw. Mas daghag upaw or maupaw dayon na lalaki kaysa sa babae. Remember this. Non-Mendelian genetics involves a pattern of inheritance that does not follow the Mendel's laws. It describes inheritance of traits linked to a single gene on chromosomes. So in short, non-Mendelian inheritance does not follow Mendel's laws of inheritance. There are different types of non-Mendelian inheritance. These are the incomplete dominance, codominance, multiple alleles, and sex-linked inheritance.